Hi, it's Jen. Today I want to share with you a project that I'm working on. I'm still continuing on with some journals I'm making, but I need to stop those at the present. I am going to be working on some Christmas things. I am going to be meeting some family members soon, and I thought I would take with me all their Christmas presents. And so I thought I would show you my process and some things that I'm doing. Now, my sister and I, we share advent calendars, and so the basis for it is we look at yard sales, we look at thrift stores, dollar stores, things like that, places like that, just so that way it won't get too expensive, but just so that way we have something fun to open every day in December. And so I've been shopping all year at yard sales, thrift stores, and picking up odds and ends, and I'm so glad I did, because now that we're going to be meeting, it was just a surprise to us that we're meeting right now. I can bring it with me, and then I don't have to send it because it can get expensive in the mail. So anyway, I was going to show you something that I'm going to be using, a vintage pant or skirt hanger. Now, when I go into the thrift store, I see these often, and one day when I went in there, I saw this and I thought, maybe I could put her advent calendar on this. Now, I can't stretch the hanger too far because the camera won't get everything, but there are 5 sections, and then there's 10 clips altogether. And I knew there wasn't going to be enough clips, but I could just add my own. But it wasn't going to work anyway because some of the things are bigger and whatnot. So I thought I would use this for 3 days for the advent calendar. And so this is not the specific one I'm giving her. I do have one hanging up that has all her gifts, and I'm trying to tweak it here and there. So when I get it totally finished, I will show you. But I made something for it this week, and I was just going to share how I did it. So as I said before, there are 10 clips, but I want to clip extra things, and so what I did was I made this clip. And so I will show you. It will just clip wherever. Hopefully you're getting a good shot of that. It will just clip whatever and hold whatever I want it to. And so I thought I would talk you through how I made this, and if you want to make yourself some, or this would be really good present toppers. Like if you give a gift bag and you want to put something on top of it to hold a card, this would be really sweet. If you use even like a craft paper bag and then put this at the top to hold a card, that would be really nice. Or even if you wrap up your presents in like a red gingham, and then you could put this in the middle after you tie some curled ribbon, and then clip this in the middle and then attach your tag to it, or even an extra little gift. So anyway, I will continue on. Now I wanted to add different ways how I'm adding different objects and whatnot on the hangers. And so when I was thinking about it, I wanted to do some sort of embroidery, and so I really like these, and I've always been wanting to make some, and so I gave it a try, and I think it looks really cute. And I like things like this because they don't have to be perfect, and especially with junk journalers, it doesn't matter if it's perfect or not, because for me there's beauty in the imperfect. But I think also this would be really sweet to put in, even in journals. Do you know how some people use clips to keep their pages open? These would be really sweet to add in your Christmas junk journalers too. So how I made this, I keep it on this box just so that way it stands. So I'm going to talk you through step by step with how I made it. I'm not going to show the embroidery today just because there are so many talented ladies on YouTube that shows how to do a blanket stitch and what have you, but I'm going to give you my measurements that I used for the penny circle, and for the other materials I used as well. So how about we get started? And I'm just going to keep this down here. See, it kind of tilts because I put some extra bits on there, but that doesn't bother me because when it's hanging you won't even see it, right? So I'm going to find something. Oops. Okay. So the first thing that I was going to share with you was the clothespin. Now, the clothespin, what I did was I tea dyed this, and you use the regular solution of tea dye, and then what I did, why mine turned out black, is because I left it in there too long. So if you take this out sooner from the tea dye, it will look like it will be brown, but I left mine in a little bit too long. But you know what, I'm really glad I did, because now I have black, and so I use these a lot, and so if you leave that in the tea dye a little bit longer, it will turn black. So that's what I did here. And then this one, if you see, this one looks just deeper and richer. Well, what I did with that is I inked it, and the ink that I used was Ranger's Potting Soil. And I'll just do a little bit here. And this is just a fake makeup sponge. This was not my idea. I did see this on YouTube somewhere. And I use this when I go over rough surfaces, just so that way I don't ruin my ink dauber's felt. And so I just go all around the outside of the clothespin, just to give it a little bit richer of a color. And I do go along the sides as well, just because those will be seen. And so I go all around. I don't do the back side where I'm going to be gluing. I don't bother doing that. But I just concentrate on the, and then see how that looks comparable now, the richness of it. And so that's all I did to get the color of my clothespin the way it is. All you need to do is tea dye it, leave it in there a little bit extra, and it will turn black. And then I just leave them out in the sun to dry, and then the silver part gets a really nice rusted look as well. So that's what I did with the clothespins. Now when I do my clothespins, I do a lot at once, so that way I don't have to do them over and over and over again. And so these have been done for a while now, and so now when I need to get things, I can just take them out and use them. So that's just an extra tip if you're new to these junk journaling or what have you. Whenever you do something like resting or tea dyeing, make sure you do extra, because then when you want to do a quick project, it will come really easy. So that's how I did my clothespin. And then the next thing I did is, now this is called a penny circle. And there are some ladies on YouTube that show you how to do penny circles. But all I did for mine is I traced, for this one, I traced a jar lid. And this is a bread yeast jar. And it was 2 1/4 inches. So if you have a punch, and I used it out of a cereal box, so if you have a hand punch or even big dies that's 2 1/4, if you want the size that I'm doing, you can just do that out of a scrap piece of cardboard. And then I used a 1 1/2 inch punch for this one. And so before I go on, that's something that I don't have. I don't have circle big dies. So if you have a circle bigs die, you don't have to do the step. You can just put your felt on the bigs die, run it through your big shot, and then you have your circles. I don't have that, and so that's why I'm making myself a template. So if you have that, go ahead, skip this step and just use your bigs die or even your Thinlit and cut your felt. And even if you have a Cricut or whatnot, you can get your felt cut up really quickly. But I don't have that, so I just made template out of cereal boxes. And then I was going to show you how I cut them. And then I just use an ivory piece of felt. Now, when you do penny circles, you're supposed to use wool felt, and I don't have that, and so I just used felt, just plain crafter's felt. And then what I did is I got my sewing clips out again, and then all I do, and I do clip this when I cut it, because I find that the felt moves, and so I find that if I clip it, I can get a really good cut without it moving. And then it's just really easy for me to do this. And so that's what I'll do, is you can just sit there. This is something that would be really good in the evenings to do, is sit and cut out circles while you're watching the news and what have you. And if you're planning on doing a lot of this type of thing, you can even invest in getting a big sty. And then I just keep on moving my clips as I go around the circle. And to be honest with you, I tried using, that's another thing I wanted to share. I tried using a friction pen. I believe that's the name of the pen. And because if you trace on material or anything and then you use your iron to heat it up, the pen goes away. I tried using a pen all around my felt, but I thought I got a better circle when I did just put the template right above it and cut around it. And then even though this isn't perfect, when you stitch it, you can't even tell. And so I think that's the beauty of this. It doesn't have it. All this isn't precise, and it just looks beautiful, any imperfections. And so that's how I cut my circles out. So with the bottom 2 1/4 inch circle, I used off-white, and then for the top one, I just used a red. And then I did the same process. I used my clips and then cut all around it. And then I used a DMC floss for all my embroidery. And the floss that I used is DMC, and it's 746. And it's just off-white. Now, I'm not particular with my embroidery floss. I was given a lot of it, and I didn't go out and buy the DMC. I just have a lot of it because it was gifted to me. So just use whatever. It doesn't have to be DMC. It could be the Anchor one or whatever other floss that you have. And then all I did was I took the first step that I did is I did my snowflake. And the reason I just did my snowflake on the red is because I tried it a few times where I did my snowflake and then I did my French knots, and then they were all out of proportion and it didn't look good at all. And so just a tip, if you're doing a snowflake, I would do your snowflake first, and then I would sew your red circle onto your first off-white one, and then I would do your French knots, just so that way you can proportion it and space them out and they would look okay. And then after I did that, I sewed the second off-white circle to the first. So you're going to have 3 circles. You're going to have 1 red and 2 off-white. The first thing I did was I embroidered a snowflake, sewed the red circle onto one of the off-white ones, and then I did my French knots, and then I sewed a backing on to I sewed another off-white circle, and then I just did a blanket stitch all the way around. And then that's my penny circle. And then I wanted to dress it up a little bit more vintagey, and so that's why I wanted to do I wanted to add something extra to the top just to make it a little bit more cute per se. So what I did there is I have a piece of material here. It's a 2x2 square, and then what I did is the bottom left I just flipped up, and then the left top corner I brought over in the middle of the right side. Put that in the middle of the right, so it should look like this. And then what I did is I took a scrap piece of black seam binding, and then I just made a ruffle like that, and then I just sewed straight down. And so I'm going to pause right now, and I'm going to sew this, and then I'm going to show you how I finished my penny circle. Alright, so I sewed those two pieces together, and then now I'm going to trim the ribbon a bit. I do like it to be long, but this is a little bit too much. And then I'm just going to, I like it frayed a lot. And this one, it's a little bit too long again, so I'm going to cut a little bit of that off. And then there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these strings a bit. I like to have a little bit of strings, but these are just a little too long for me. And I always leave the back a little bit longer. And then this is a little bit too long still. Alright, that looks about good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my scrap penny circles just to show you how I finished it. And this is, I don't like this one, but I just wanted to show you how I attached the rest of it on it. And so what I did with this is I just put it how I wanted, thought it looked cute. I'll do that. And then all I did is I used a rusted, I was going to say paper clip, but it's not a paper clip, it's just a pin. So I rust these two. And so this is a rusted one. And the size of this is 1 1/8, 1 1/8 of an inch long, just in case you're curious about the length, because I know they come in, many come in a pack. And then all I did is I attached the material with a pin. And one of the reasons why I did that, the person that I'm giving this to, I try to think ahead that if she wants to reuse this in gift giving, and if she doesn't like this bit, she could take it off and leave it plain, or she could add something else that she likes. And so, so just in case she doesn't like this little bit, that's why I did that. And then what I did is I got a scrap piece of twine, and then I just slit it through. And then I have a rusted bell, and again I do a lot of these at one time, so that way when I need it, they're already there. Oops, that's not good. And so here we go. I use a lot of bells in the winter time. Christmas time, you'll see you'll see my projects. I use a lot of bells. I don't know why I like them. I just do. Okay. And then I just tie a bow with the twine, and I get it to how I like it. I don't want it super big, the bow, because I don't want it overpowering the material part, or even the penny circle. But you want it a good size. You don't want it to be lost either. That's a little too big there. This one looks good. And you just fiddle with it until you like how it looks. And there we go. And then what I do is I just See how the ends, just see how they naturally fall. And then I just cut accordingly. I don't like cutting them too small because I want them to drape in some way. But that's a little long. There we go. And there you go. And so that's how I attached this, the material to the penny circle. And then what I did is I just took my clothespin and then I just put a bead of hot glue on it, and then I centered it, and then I just glued that on. And there you go. It can be to put on a journal to keep pages open. You can use it for present toppers, whatever, however you want to use this. The sky's the limit. You can even change how you decorate it up a bit. I just wanted to share with you how I am decorating the vintage skirt hanger or pant hanger, and I needed extra clips, and so this was one of the things that I did is I made one of these, and this is going to be holding some things on there, some extra little goodies. Well, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And when you go into your thrift store, don't walk past these vintage pant hangers. This would be really sweet to hold Christmas cards. You can make even clips like this to hold extra, because these you can hold a few with this one, and then make a few of these, and then just make different ones. It would be really cute hanging on a door or in a dining room. And so I encourage you, let's not throw out our junk. Let's journal with it and even gift with it. Take care, guys. Bye.